Communication is something we do reflexively, like breathing. We talk to our spouses, kids, and friends without giving much thought to how we're doing it. It might seem easy, but communicating effectively actually takes quite a bit of skill. Choosing the right words, listening with our minds instead of just our ears, and getting our message across are skills that we all need to work on. At home and in social settings, miscommunication can lead to arguments. In the workplace, the consequences can be far more serious. Poor productivity, unmotivated employees, even lawsuits can result from communication failures in the office. To improve communication within your team and throughout your entire company, you need to implement a few easy but important changes to your daily routine. In this training, you will learn some tips to improve communication. You will also see how changing your communication strategy can lead to real improvements in employee motivation, productivity, and effectiveness. It is important to understand why effective communication is important. First off, it improves workplace relationships. It also improves time management and overall employee performance. On top of that, your employees will feel more valued. This is important if you want your workplace to run as smoothly as possible. Now that we've gone over the reasons why improving workplace communication is important, you can begin to understand the ways you can foster better communication within your own workplace. There are several ways for you to better your communication. Some of these ways are handling conflicts within the workplace with diplomacy, increasing the amount of verbal communication that you use, and respecting the cultural differences that are present in your office. Providing good feedback, avoiding bringing emotion into the equation, and listening to employees are some of the most important ways you can better your communication skills. First, we will discuss how to handle conflicts with diplomacy. Put a group of people with different personalities in the same room for long periods of time, add the stress of multiple deadlines, and you've got a recipe for conflict. No matter how well the group may work together, inevitably they're going to have some type of conflict, even if it revolves around only a small issue. Most minor issues will work themselves out, but a few can turn into major conflicts. Some office arguments can be serious enough to prompt legal action. To prevent small issues from turning into major conflicts, it is important to address problems right away. Let employees know that from the beginning, your door is always open. Encourage them to come by you by creating a safe environment in which they feel comfortable enough to honestly and openly voice their problems. All conversations held in your office should be completely confidential. When you respond to conflicts, do so with an open mind and a non-judgmental attitude. This means that there should be absolutely no personal attacks. By asking questions and really listening to the responses, you can understand how each person involved in the conflict and how you can help both parties reach a solution that is acceptable to everyone. Verbal communication is a very simple way to better communication with the people you work with. Technology is great for improving speed, but it can have a detrimental effect on personal relationships within the workplace. How many times have you sent an email with the best intentions only to have its message misinterpreted on the other end? A short response sent in haste can easily be misinterpreted as a lack of care, or worse, as a sign that you're angry. The majority of meaning interpreted in conversation comes not from the words themselves, but from the speaker's facial expressions and body language. Take gestures and smiles out of the equation, and the recipients can easily get the wrong impression, especially when the sender isn't the best writer. There's an easy fix for this, however. Pick up the phone once in a while and make a call. Better yet, take a walk across the office and talk to your employees face to face. Respecting cultural differences is extremely important within today's workplace. Companies not only hire foreign employees, but they also work with more colleagues abroad. As a result, management needs to be culturally sensitive and aware of the subtle differences in the way people of different nationalities interpret words and gestures. Companies need to create an environment that's understanding of and sensitive to the needs of all their employees, no matter what their culture or religion. This could include providing kosher or vegetarian options in the cafeteria, allowing employees to take time off for religious holidays, and providing sensitivity training to help staff members gain a better understanding of and appreciation for all their coworkers. Another way to improve communication is to provide employees with good feedback. Whether they're working tirelessly to get projects done or slacking off, your Workers need to know that you recognize and appreciate their efforts or expect them to work harder. You don't have to hold regular meetings to share feedback, although that's one way to do it. There are many other ways to let your employees know what you're thinking, through email, phone calls, or a brief status update a couple mornings a week. When you do give feedback, make sure it's as clear and detailed as possible. Try to offer solutions if there's a problem. For example, don't just say, "You aren't putting in enough effort." Instead say, "When you are late 3 weeks in a row filling your budget reports, it gives me the sense that you don't have enough time invested in your accounting procedures. Can you let me know why you've been late and how we might help you get back on track?" Don't forget to give positive feedback too. Praise and recognition makes employees feel important, which motivates them further. Take your team out to lunch to celebrate a sales milestone. Get key employees gift certificates to say thanks for a job well done, or just tell them, "You did a great job on that presentation. Good work." Removing emotion is one of the most important aspects of handling conflicts, having effective verbal communication, respecting cultural differences, and giving good feedback. You try to promote professionalism at the office, but that's not always easy to do so when different personalities come together in such a small space. Sometimes work discussions can turn to personal attacks. When an employee is starting to get under your skin, take your emotions out of the equation. Instead, take a deep breath, count to 10, and respond in a calm, unemotional way. When you do respond, don't make it personal. For example, instead of saying, "You did a terrible job putting together that presentation," try, "Here are a few points I think you need to work on that will really add to what you've already written." Or, "I'm having some trouble understanding what you're trying to get across. Can you please explain it to me?" Also, make sure the person on the receiving end isn't taking your comments the wrong way. Everyone views the world in his or her own emotional way. No matter how innocent your intentions, they can be misunderstood. Ask for clarification at the end of conversations to make sure you and your employees are on the same page. You might say, "My intention in talking about your recent absences is to make sure everything is okay with your job and your health, and to see what we can do together to improve the situation. How do you feel about the issues we've discussed?" Listening is the final most important aspect of communication. You have conversations with your employees all day, but are you really listening? Here's a clue. If you're thinking ahead to your next meeting or planning tonight's dinner during that conversation, you're not really paying attention. Being an effective communicator means listening as well as talking. Sounds easy, but listening actually takes some patience and practice. Each time you have a conversation, pretend there's going to be a quiz at the end of it. Try to keep a mental checklist of all the important points the other person makes. When the conversation is over, force yourself to recall at least 3 important things the person said. Get in the habit of doing this until listening becomes second nature. One helpful way to improve your listening skills is to repeat what the other person has said. For example, when you say something like, "I understand that you're not happy with the current health policy, Frank. I'm going to look into it." Or you can say, "I want to make sure I've understood you correctly, Tim. You're telling me that you want to extend the health insurance benefits to spouses. Is that right?" This technique offers the added bonus of showing your employees that you're interested in what they have to say. Now that you've completed the workplace communication training, please complete the evaluation that follows.